Staff Sergeant James Harper, a Green Beret posted at Fort Bragg, is in recovery from a knee injury. Music swells. Off-duty, James is a devoted family man, regular at church with his wife Brienne and their little boy, James Jr.
Like 1950, a lot. It's a great year. Did that.
That's you in the airplane? Again!
To manage the pain, James regularly injects steroids for the knee. That's where trouble begins. Word comes down. The whole unit is slated for a drug screening. Afterward, he's summoned by his superiors and a new CO. Because of the medication in his system, James is told he's being separated from the Army, losing health coverage and his pension. He's stunned, but he holds it together and salutes. He breaks it to Brienne. He's out of work, bills and debt stacking up. He floats the idea of private contracting. She reminds him they promised he wouldn't. There's real work out there with real money, he argues. The next evening, Brienne comes home and finds him working on the roof.
Can you come down?
Yeah, I'll come down and...
Mason, he's gone. I've been all night.
I'm okay.
James attends Mason's funeral. There, former team lead Mike Hawkins invites him to dinner with the family. How do you figure they shoved his giant butt into that?
How do you figure they shoved his giant butt into that? The White Sox.
Yeah.
Nice.
I guess so.
What?
He was a better soldier. You're my dad.
Well, we looked after each other. He pulled me out of a bar once.
Yeah.
After the kids go down, James and Mike share a drink. Mike senses something's off. James admits he wants to get his life back on track and has been considering contracting, but he feels guilty about it. Mike shrugs. He's done a few gigs. We're just doing what we were trained to do. He explains he now works for a private military company that contracts with the government. The pay sounds good. James thinks it over and decides he's in. Mike takes him to a ranch to meet the boss, Rusty Jennings. Rusty brings James in alone. James's file is already laid out, even his father's. Rusty rails about how the government chews men like them up and spits them out, leaving them to fend for themselves. James relates. Rusty knows James has multiple offers, but says this one has real purpose. He claims he operates under the direct authority of the president. There's a Berlin situation that threatens U.S. national security. Mike will lead a black team in 2 weeks. James signs on. Rusty sweetens it. Dalton's cutting you a $50,000 check. You down for the cause? Thank you. That night, James tells Brienne about the job and shows her the big check. He claims it's bodyguard work. She doesn't buy it, and she's worried he'll miss Junior's birthday. A few weeks later, James checks into a hotel, surrenders his electronics into a Faraday case, and boards a flight to Berlin. He arrives, grabs a small hotel room, and meets his handler for tasking. Surveil a Middle Eastern scientist named Sem, suspected of weaponizing biology. James preps, takes the pre-staged car, locates Sem's address, parks on a clean angle, and watches patterns, comings, goings, habits. He also quietly infiltrates the workplace, lifting passwords, photos, and call logs over several days. After a week, a secure message directs him to a safe house. Inside are Mike, Sylvie, and Kaufman. They combine what James gathered. Sem's research into human viral effects drew the attention of El Dawa, an al-Qaeda-linked charity headed by Farouk. Plan. Mike, James, Kaufman hit the lab, grab Sem and the data. Sylvie drives the exfil back to base for interrogation and follow-on orders.
The lab only has moderate security.
What happens when we hit jackpot?
Link up with you here. Giddy up.
They kit up and roll out in Sylvie's van. Get ready. By nightfall, they move through woods bordering the facility. They surprise a lone guard and restrain him, using his thumbprint to get inside. Music rises. They flow room to room, then burst into Sem's office. Kaufman starts pulling data. Mike questions Sem.
Need to ask you questions. Who else knows the specifics of your work? Where do you back up your work?
It's all in here. It's in these computers.
Then a new directive pings. Eliminate Sem, destroy the lab, and stage an industrial accident. Mike hands the execution to James, who readies a syringe.
codex. We were never here. Get some.
Sir, I'm a man of sight. Do you even know who you're working for?
Sem pleads. He insists he's trying to save millions and tells James there's a clean backup in a safety deposit box. See for yourself. James injects him. Sem dies. They ignite the server room and withdraw as fire consumes the building. At the exfil point, police intercept. Gunfight. Moving. Moving. Sylvie lays down cover. Kaufman gets hit and dies behind a tree. Mike takes a round-changing cover. SWAT is called in. A cop grabs Sylvie. James drops the cop. James locks in. Rapid bursts a grenade, then throws Mike over his shoulder and sprints into the forest. With sirens and boots in pursuit, they ditch heavy gear and wade a river. They find a sewer pipe. James checks it, then drags Mike through. In the tunnels, he treats him. James can't believe they just killed cops. Mike says they did what they had to. Mike is bleeding out. He tells James to leave him and safeguard the intel. James refuses, taps his own blood for a field transfusion, and stabilizes him underground. Later, Mike improves, but James's knee gives out. He can't walk. James orders Mike to go ahead with the package and come back later. Mike makes him promise not to die and disappears into a side pipe. James rests till morning, pops pills, and crawls out. He smears mud to mask scent, hears a shot, just a father and son hunting, swipes food and clothes from their truck, then after dark heads to the hotel Mike mentioned. Inside, a note from Mike, handoff complete, and a passport. Exhausted, James drains his knee and hits a steroid for pain, then crashes in the tub. Mike was supposed to be back by 10 a.m. No show. James grabs a burner and calls Rusty. Rusty says Mike never checked in, promises an extraction, asks for his location. Something feels off. Rusty insists he wants James home safe and gives a pickup at the Elson Bridge. James reaches the bridge. Rusty says watch for a brown BMW. James spots other movement. I'm at Elson Bridge, northwest corner. How did Rusty set an exfil if Mike never returned? James suspects Mike's been silenced. Rusty orders him to get in the car. James fades into cover. Gunmen open fire. He dives, then surfaces as motorbikes roar in. He knocks a rider off, grabs a weapon. Now foot mobiles push in, spraying rounds. James breaks for the sewer, shoots out lights, sprints through darkness. Two pursuers follow. He posts up in a shadowed corner, springs the ambush, and kills both. Checking pockets, he realizes they're former Marines. One is dying. He gasps that orders were extraction, then changed at the bridge to termination. Mike was picked up. Fate unknown. He shows James a family photo. On the back, a phone number for help. Another team is inbound. Run. The Marine swears he didn't know it was an American. Rusty said they'd all get richer. James texts from the Marine's phone to spoof extraction, then slips out by train. Sem's words echo. James goes to Sem's house, punches in the code, and gets Sophie, the widow, to open the door. He promises not to hurt her if she shows him where Sem's research is. She says it's in a bank box. He has her drive. The boy wants to come in, but James says no. The kid asks if James was Sem's friend, sad about his death. James says yes, and it feels genuine. Sophie returns with a tablet. He walks her through security questions, unlocks it, then exits the car on the highway and disappears. That night, James dials the number on the photo. A man named Virgil offers exfil. James meets him and gets knocked out. He wakes strapped to a bed in a tidy clinical safe flat. Virgil shows his gear intact and reassures him. Once James calms down, he's unbound. James says he wants to go home. Virgil says he can't. Ever. Later, James watches Sem on the tablet. The scientist was finishing an H5N1 vaccine, and powerful people wanted the work buried. A few evenings later, James and Virgil share dinner, trading Afghanistan stories.
You ever been to Hindu Kush? I thought I was in Colorado when I first saw it. How long you been out here? Got a wife? Two beautiful girls? We all know the monster.
A shot cracks the window. Virgil drops. Headshot. Lights out. A hit team stacks on the door. James opens the gas, rigs a delay, dives out a second-story window, hits a car, and speeds off as the house detonates. He drives through the night and slips back into the United States. Music carries. He reconnoiters Mike's place. Mike's alive with his wife and kids. Next day, James tails him from home to a public garage, follows up the ramp. At the top, Mike ambushes him, gun drawn, until James removes his helmet. Shock. James accuses him of the betrayal and says the real mission was to steal a cure, not stop a threat. Mike says Rusty told everyone James was dead, even Brienne and Junior, and arranged a payout. If Rusty knows James survived, he'll unleash everything. James, shaking, points the gun back. He bled for Mike, and this is the thanks. He breaks, admitting his worst fear was vanishing from his family like his father did. Now Mike put him in that exact spot. James wants Rusty. Done. Mike agrees. They roll up to Rusty's compound. Mike clears the gate like normal, strolls toward a cluster of guards, and drops them in a clean burst. James launches from the van, pushing the main house. Rusty fires from a window. James slices inside, shoots one merc, brawls another. Outside, Mike gets hit pushing forward, but tags Rusty in the stomach before taking another round. James finishes the last gunman and hunts Rusty, already bleeding out. He guns him down. He drags Mike to the van, promising help. They both know it's the end. Mike gives a final message for his son and dies. James burns the car with Mike inside on a quiet roadside. With Rusty dead and the machine behind him gutted, James finally heads home. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more recaps. And don't click away. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these two videos popping up right now. Check them out next.